All right, what's going on, everyone? We have another episode of Game Time Excellence. Today we have another special guest, man. I would say he's my big brother, mentor, man. I used to bug him all the time, asking him questions back when I was with the Patriots. We have Devin McCourty. For all the people that don't know who you are, but should know who you are, can you tell them a little bit about yourself?
Like you said, man, Devin McCourty played for the Patriots the last 10 seasons. Just signed a contract going back for 2 more seasons. I would say for me, I'm a dad, a husband, obviously a football player, community advocate for a bunch of different things, whether it's criminal justice, education, economic advancement. I just try to stay busy, man. I try to set an example for my kids, and I feel like that's my true legacy of what my kids see me do and what I leave behind, for them to not only, accomplish goals and have success, but for them to also inspire others to do the right things and to make, whatever is around them better than how they found it. So in a nutshell, a couple sentences, I would say that's me.
Right. No, that's awesome right there, man. And everything that you just said, is the reason why when I first got to the Patriots, I was like, man, I need to get connected with him because you're not just a football player, man. You do a great job of being a husband, being a father. You do a great job of being in the community. You have a great nonprofit. It supports sickle cell, correct?
Yep.
Um, and you were a student of the game, so I was like, man, I gotta ask him questions every day. Uh,
And
and
for those of you who don't know, when Shamiel says that, he means it. I mean, questions every day. We wake up in the morning, watch film, more questions, more
yeah,
so. But I always admire you just how much you try to improve and get better. You didn't waste a day in New England of not getting better and trying to advance your game somehow and advance as a person, honestly.
no, I appreciate that, and that's something I truly believe in. Is just if you want to get better, if you want to master the skills, you got to get under someone and you got to like learn how they did it because success leaves clues. Why would I try to make up the trail on my own and you've already done it? So
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 true.
so how have you made it to New England? You were first round draft pick.
Yeah.
And Dev is super fast, man. I don't know how he's that fast, but how have you went about mastering your skills from high school to college to the NFL?
I think it's like you just said too, though. It's finding other people, whether it's men or women, just finding out what success looks like. And for me, like when I was in high school, totally different than where I am right now, especially
Mm,
talking about football wise. Like I left high school, I wasn't ranked top 100 in the state.
mm,
I had one offer to Rutgers and then an offer to New Hampshire. Everything else was one double A. So coming out of high school, I came out with this huge chip on my shoulder of like people didn't respect me, they didn't think
right,
I was
right,
good. Really only got offered to Rutgers because they wanted my twin brother, who had, he had like 5 offers and they
right,
wanted him, and they thought, they're twins. To get him, we got to take his brother.
right.
And I think from that, when I got to Rutgers, I got to be around um, a lot of guys that were just pushing ahead, guys that it wasn't a ton of guys that had 5 stars and all of that. It was
Mm-hmm.
guys that were just grinding. And for me, I came in, I was the sixth guy on the depth chart at safety. So when
Mm,
you're that deep, you don't have a choice but to just put your head down and work.
right.
And I think that's what I did. My the guy who helped recruit me, my host, Ron Giroux, went to my high school with me. So when I got there, he played as a true freshman. Was kind of what you just described. He was a smart guy on the defense. They said even as a freshman, he was kind of the leader. He knew the whole defense. So I
Mm-hmm.
was always with him. I was
Right.
always finding out, how he picked up the defense so fast. And,
Yeah.
I kind of did that all the way throughout college. And then I got to the NFL. Fortunate enough, my locker was right next to Kevin Falk. Kevin
Oh
Falk
wow.
was a
Yeah.
running back, but Kevin Falk was in his 13th year in the NFL when I got there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a rookie, and my locker's next to a guy who's now playing 13 years, three
Right.
Super Bowls. So I used to just sit there and sometimes I ask him questions. As a lot of times, I just watch him.
Right. Right.
Like, let me just watch to see what he does. And he taught me about routine. And
Mm,
I would say that was my biggest takeaway my rookie year of Kev just telling me his routine and me telling me to find my own routine. And it started with me like doing some stuff I ain't even like. Like he used to get in the sauna every day after practice. I don't
Yeah.
like the sauna, but I was like, man, if he do it, I'm gonna
Right.
do it. So I get in the sauna. It'd be me, him, Randy Moss, Sammy Morris, like a
Man.
lot of veteran, very successful players. Vince Wilfork
Mm-hmm.
started getting Vince used to get in the hot tub and put in bath salts and stuff before practice every day. I was
Okay.
like, all right, I'm gonna do
Right.
that.
Right.
You
Yep.
know, and as I started doing these things, I started to build my own routine that I do now. But it was a big thanks to being around those guys and just following the lead that they put in front of me.
Right, right. No, that's really cool. And the funny thing you said sauna. When I first got to New England, that's when we had Daryl Reeves, Browner. It was you. You know, it was like a lot of good veterans there. And Darrell Reeves, he used to get in the sauna like after every practice too. And I think it's because when you're like in your 13th year, 12th year, because Martellus Bennett, when I was with the Bears, he did it
Mm-hmm.
too. I think because you don't work as hard. I mean, I think you still work hard, but not like when you're young, and so it's hard to burn off calories. And
Well, you just get older. It get harder
yeah,
as you get older.
yeah, exactly. And so I don't know if you do it now, but I remember Darrell used to come out to practice with the big old sweatsuit
Yeah,
and
he used to go out there with the sweat joint. I don't do
right.
that. I still wear my long sleeves every day.
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
go with the sweat jacket. But you know, Reeves should come back. He was always overweight.
Right, right. So I think that's just the thing as you get older. You have to find ways to keep your body
Exactly.
healthy. So you kind of found, you kind of master your skills through asking questions and then observation and then trial and error. Would you say that?
Yeah, and I think studying the game. Like I remember my
Mm,
rookie year, Bill doesn't do it anymore, but my rookie year, we kind of had it was going through like a kind of I would say a full turnaround really in New England. After 2009, they lost in the wild card.
mm-hmm.
And then it was like, I think we had 12 draft picks, kind of probably how it is now, right
Right.
now, this season coming up. But because of that, like we would get like small tests in our position groups
Mm-hmm.
and like guys were doing bad. And Bill
Yeah.
found out. So then we started getting defensive tests, not like just
Oh
rookies,
shoot.
because that's what the meeting started as. The test started with just the rookies.
Right.
He was like, no, the whole defense.
Right.
So like now you have vets who like had to study what the motions were
Right.
called and
Right.
all of that. But like I took that as like, well, I'm young, like I
Mm-hmm.
don't got nothing else here. We in a hotel. So like on all those tests, I think I got 95 and above on every single test. Just
Right.
going
Right.
home and studying it. Football's always kind of come natural to me.
Mm-hmm.
But like when you get in a new place, like the terminology, I don't care how good of a football player you are, like
Right.
that's time. Like you have to study that. Like it's not gonna
Mm-hmm.
just come to you. And I just really took that time during like the OTAs off-season period. I just studied my playbook, study,
Right.
study, study. And I was happy I did it because I remember in OTAs the first time they was like, "Hey, you're gonna go with the ones today,"
Right.
and I was like, "All right, cool," like
Yeah.
excited. But
Right.
like you get in the huddle and Gerard Mayo in 2008, number 10 pick in the draft,
Mm-hmm.
rookie defensive player of the year. Vince Wilfork, Miami, dominant in New England
Right.
for years. And I'm looking at those two dudes and I'm like, damn, I can't mess up. Like,
Right.
you know what I
Right.
mean? I got Brandon
Yeah.
Merriweather behind me, like, and he
Yeah.
used to talk trash.
Oh, he's talk.
And,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there like, yo, I'm the rookie in here.
Right.
And I think because of my knowledge, like, even though I was nervous, I fell back on what I had studied.
Right.
And that gave me confidence to go out there and compete.
No, that's dope, man. That's really dope. So that leads me to my next one right there is like just the mindset, man. It's as a I was telling Duran, yesterday, man, that as a football player, you kind of have to have that borderline like arrogance with yourself, because you gotta believe like you're unstoppable. Nobody can touch you. You're the best person on the field because if you don't,
Mm-hmm.
man, you go out there and
Get eaten up.
yeah, you know what I mean? So how did you build that mindset as a rookie in New England?
Honestly, I feel like it came to me. Like I'm
Mm,
a rookie in New England. Um, get drafted in the first round. So like right away you got expectations. And when I got drafted, one of the first questions the media asked me was like, "Are you aware that you're not a popular pick? People feel like New England
oh
drafted
shoot.
a special teams player with the first round pick."
No
I
way.
came in and I was like, "Oh, straight to it." And then you go out there, your first couple of practices, I'm lined up against Randy Moss.
Right,
And like this is older Randy Moss. So I'm like,
right,
all right, I should be fine.
right.
Man, that dude flew by me, flew by me a couple
Right,
times.
right.
And then I think that's what helped build my confidence because each time, I had to come back. Like,
Right.
and I was having good days, and I do good in one-on-ones or
Mm-hmm.
something, and then like we get in the red area, and how you do it, 10
Right.
plays in the red area.
Yeah.
I was a rookie, so I might get two with the first team, and then
Yeah.
all of the other ones, and Randy might get me for 4 touchdowns in the
Right.
period, and like I'm walking off, and I'm like,
Right.
and as negative as our coach was, Josh Boyer, he
Yeah.
would be like, he would tell me the coaching point. He'd be like, "It's Randy Moss. Like,
Right. Right.
like you'll get better at it." But then you start making some plays on Randy Moss. You start making
Right.
some plays on Tom's throws,
Right.
and it's like, okay,
Right.
all
Right.
right, like. And
Yeah.
then I think the biggest boost of confidence I got was in the preseason. First preseason game, and we had joint practices against the Saints at
Mm-hmm.
first. So we had the 2 days of joint practices.
Mm-hmm.
So that built my confidence because now, what I mean, it's not Tom, but you got Drew Brees over there.
Right.
And,
Right. Right.
practice, he threw a couple that was good defense and
Right.
just completed it.
Yeah.
But then we went out there in the game and I was running around making tackles, making
Yeah.
plays. And I was like, okay, then had 2 kick returns, got 50 yards. I was like,
Right.
okay, like, and for me, I came from a smaller school. Like Rutgers isn't,
Mm-hmm.
at the time wasn't like a powerhouse.
Right.
So,
You said at the
getting in
time
there,
they not good
chill
now.
out, man. We on the way up. We on the way up. But I think at the time I needed that, and I think that gave me confidence. And I'd still tell young dudes to this day, like, I don't care how much you come in with your swagger and you
Mm-hmm.
study and know your stuff, because
Mm.
that's where all your confidence will come. Like you can
Right.
go in there and be the most confident guy, and we call cover one, and you're confident because you're a man to man.
Mm-hmm.
But then we call double 2 3, and now it's
Right.
cover
Right.
two or
Yeah.
cover three.
Right.
Somebody motions, and now you're like, oh, are we in two or?
Right.
Um,
Right.
and I don't care how confident. Now that confidence goes away because. So I always tell guys like know your stuff.
Right.
Especially depending on what defense and you like. When you came in New England playing
Yeah.
safety, you couldn't turn to anybody else. Like that
Yeah.
was your job to know it.
Exactly.
Like you had to tell people. So I'm sure you felt it like the level of when you first got in there. You're like, I'm a confident player, but you get in there, you're
Right.
like, I ain't that confident.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
as you start learning, it's like, all right, I can play, I can go. So
Right. No, that's true, man. Because, man, I tell everyone the hardest defense I've ever had to learn as far as like the red zone is
oh,
New England. Oh my gosh. Like it was just so much stuff. I was like, man, like me and Hawk during the time,
mm-hmm,
I was like, dude, this is like tough. And uh let's talk about this real quick because I don't think people understand, I was an undrafted, rookie and you got drafted. So my opportunities were, they were limited, especially during that
mm-hmm,
time. We had Chung, you, Nate, Tavon, and Do,
and
you
do
know.
it. Yep.
So, like that was it right there. And so my reps were limited. And I remember in games, I remember it was the first preseason game. I think I got like 2 series. The next one, I got like 1 series. The next one, I got none. Then the last game, I could probably got like a quarter. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so and that kind of took a hit on my confidence. And so do you have any time in your career where your confidence was low, and how did you overcome your confidence being shot a little bit?
Oh, my second year, my
Yeah.
my rookie year, come in, go to the Pro Bowl, second team All Pro, and when you're younger, you're into it all. So like I used to watch NFL Network,
Mm.
ESPN. They're like, this guy should have got drafted in the top 10, and
Right.
I'm
Right.
like, okay, like you know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I do belong.
Right.
And then my
Right.
second year, we kind of switched the defense up a little bit. The year before, we kind of played everything. We were
Mm-hmm.
man, fire zones, cover
Mm.
two, covered, like we just did so much.
Right.
And like I study a lot, like I was a smart football player. So I love that to be able to like do different things.
Mm-hmm.
And the next year we came in, it was just like all press man. And I was like,
Right.
oh,
Right.
this is different. And then
Right.
we had
Right.
no off season. We had a lockout year. So as the year gets going, first game in Miami, Monday Night Football, Brandon Marshall.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Second game at home, Chargers, Vincent Jackson,
Right. Right.
and Malcolm Floyd.
Right.
And like, so I'm just straight into the fire.
Right.
And I'm competing out there. Like me and Brandon Marshall was a battle. Like I
Mm-hmm.
almost had a pick six that would have went like 100 and something yards,
Right. Right. Right.
drop it.
Yeah.
So like then we play somebody else, and like the season's just like this.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's halfway decent, and then it's like bottom.
Right,
Like,
right. Yeah.
and the media's killing me. Um, we lost, I think, to Baltimore. Had like a pass interference with like
Mm-hmm.
2 minutes left in the game, and it's just like at the end of the season, I get moved to safety and
Mm,
passing situations because we didn't have any like true free safety. They told me,
mm.
but you're a corner. You
Right,
get
right,
moved to safety. It's
right.
like, nah, you stinking it up at corner. That's why we
Right,
moving
right.
you.
Yeah.
And in New England, there's not much ever of like, let's sit down and talk or let's figure. You know what
Right,
I
right.
mean? Like I had a meeting with Bill my second year, and it went straight like this for an hour straight.
Mm-hmm.
We sat there. He put up film, put up an hour. I'm telling you, this is an hour of bad film.
Yeah.
Like imagine you
All
sit with the
bad.
head, you sit with the head coach. It started off with some good film, like look,
Okay.
see how you do this, how you do that.
Right, right.
5 to 10 minutes max.
Yeah.
Then the rest was 45 to 50 minutes of just him, just like, look how bad this is. Like,
Right, right.
and like, I literally walked out of that meeting. It's probably like halfway through the year. Like, I might get, I don't know how like all
Right,
this
right.
stuff work. I know I was a first round pick, but like,
Yeah.
I might get cut.
Right.
And sitting there, and it's just like I remember I talked to Mayo, who said he kind of went through something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like at the time, like man, I don't know what to do. And I
Right,
think
right.
talking to my brother who was playing in Tennessee at the time was a big help.
Mm-hmm.
Just always like instilling that confidence in me, like you just got
Mm.
to go play, like it's gonna be
Right, right.
fine. Like, and I would say what I really learned at the end of that year is we ended up going to the Super Bowl, and it
Mm-hmm.
was the worst year for me ever.
Mm-hmm.
But like on the back end of it, team wise, like we're in the Super Bowl. And I
Right,
remember
right.
preparing for the Super Bowl and realizing like, man, everything you've been through, like just let it go. Like
Right,
you're
right.
you're you're where everybody would love to be. You're a captain, you're
Mm-hmm.
in the Super Bowl.
Mm.
Like you have this great opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to do something that is phenomenal,
Mm-hmm.
and you're worried about the wrong thing. So
Right, right.
I think that taught me a lot of
Mm-hmm.
just understanding this is a great opportunity. Take advantage of it. Do
Mm-hmm.
whatever you have to do to be in this moment and try to win. And you'll look back at this time and be like, it was tough, but it was well worth it. And I
Right.
think that's what happened for me going forward in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Fully confident. I was able to be a leader, but like
Right,
I was able
right.
to be better at everything. I think just because, like everyone knows, like when you make it through adversity,
Right,
it does
right.
nothing but make you stronger.
Right. No, that's awesome. So knowing that, there's light at the end of the tunnel. I know it's like cliche to say, but like,
But it's true.
yeah. And then on the flip end, like having the right support team, around you. So right support system around you, your brother, Gerard Mayo. I'm pretty sure you had a couple other people too as well, instilling some confidence in you. And shoot, I bet you kept pushing through. You know what I mean? You didn't stop. You know what I mean? Even though Bill blasted you for about an hour. uh, and this is when I knew that New England was completely different. Than most places. Obviously, your first year you don't know because that's your first team. I mean, you've only been in New England, so you don't know any
It's
different
different,
either.
yeah.
Yeah, and so um, I remember, I think, was it after the first OTA practice? Bill shows I don't know if he still does it, but shows the three good plays and three bad plays or something like that.
It matters what mood he's in.
Yeah, okay. So this day, he showed Tom Brady messing up to Julian Edelman or something like that. And he said, Tom, what the fuck? And I was like, oh shoot, he going at Tom? Like, this is crazy. That's what I knew right then. I was like, okay, I can get cut at any moment. Because if he's
Hmm.
talking to Tom like this, he'll cut me, like, just for me being late. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, and I've told people, to me, that's what has made New England great. Like people always talk about like Tom and Bill's relationship and blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. But I think when Tom allowed Coach Belichick, Josh McDaniel, like all his coaches, he allowed them to coach him, and he was
Mm-hmm.
always coachable.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that was them going at him, whether that was them telling him like how good of a job, like he allowed himself to be coachable.
Mm-hmm.
It just set an example for like every other guy who ever walked in that building
Right.
to be like, what
Yeah.
am I going to do? This is the greatest football player of all time. He
Right.
getting
Right.
coached. Like, how
Yep.
could I? That same story you talking about, like I remember the same way for me. I remember
Right.
sitting in a meeting and he's talking about leadership, and Bill was calling out like all our veteran players on leadership, like
Mm-hmm.
Randy, Tom. everywhere. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, this dude going
Right, right.
at the dogs.
Yeah.
And like from that moment, I think it made me realize like, yo, if I wanna stick in this NFL thing, because
Mm-hmm.
at that time, like you said, it was all I knew. I thought this is
Right,
how the NFL was.
right.
I was like, I gotta be on it because
Mm-hmm.
like this is no joke.
Right, right. No, that's true, man. And so, you know, one thing I learned from, you, Julian Edelman, and Tom as well is, man, the NFL season is long. Okay, it's extremely long from the preseason games to the season, and then if you like your guys, you make it to the Super Bowl dang near every year. You go all the way to like February, and then the season starts back up in April. So you only get like a month and a half
Yeah,
break. And
goes
so,
fast.
yeah, so how do you take care of yourself, uh, like mentally, physically, and spiritually to be able to withstand a long season and then go to the Super Bowl and then do it all over again?
Yeah, I would say when I was younger, I didn't think about it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
remember like that second year, I remember finishing and we lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. I'm from New York, lived in New Jersey at the time. I was like, man, I
Mm-hmm.
ain't going home for a while. Like I just
Right,
didn't
right,
want to be around it.
right.
And then when I went back, it's probably like 2 weeks off. So we
Mm-hmm.
finished in February. I took probably like 2, 3 weeks off,
Right,
maybe it was just 2 weeks.
right,
I got right back to working out.
right,
And it was just like never ending. After my rookie year, same thing. Took like
right,
2 weeks off, got right back to working out. And I didn't think about like the mental and like I just was like, yo, if you want to get better, you gotta work. You gotta
right,
work.
right.
You gotta work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now I've learned over the last couple years, I just disconnect. Like
Right,
for me, at least a month of just gone. And now it's a lot easier. Like I got a wife, I got kids.
right.
So like this year we lost in the wild card and like the sky is falling in New England. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody, bro, I'm a stay at home dad. That's what I
Right,
turn
right.
into. Like I'm
Yep.
waking up, I'm doing breakfast, dropping the kids off at daycare.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it obviously gives me the physical rest that my body needs.
Right,
If any like rehab stuff, I'm gonna just rest, like not
right.
active rest, just true rest.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say from a mental standpoint of just being more than a football player.
Right,
And I
right.
think that is key for me of being a dad, being a husband, going out on our usual date nights and
Mm-hmm.
doing that stuff, and then being in the community. I work with a ton of different organizations of,
Mm-hmm.
going in. Um, when the season and I got to go spend time,
Right,
not
right.
just speaking but like actually going and spending time with the people in these organizations. And then spiritually, one of the best things me and my wife have done is we go to a retreat called
Mm.
Players Outreach
Oh
through the
yeah.
NFL. Like you would kind of call it a marriage retreat, and we go
Mm-hmm.
out there for 3 or 4 days, where it's just us. We're just
Mm-hmm.
focusing on our relationship personally with God, and
Mm-hmm.
then our relationship together. So that's been big for me because it
Right.
always refreshes me. Nothing to do with football. Obviously, we talk about how our lives are affected by what we do for a living and the
Right.
time it takes, but we kind of just build ourselves back up and we kind of get renewed out there, and
Mm.
that's been big for me. I've been the last 3 years of being out there and doing that has really helped me out a lot.
Right, right, right. No, that's really cool, man. Because so, one, what do you cook for breakfast, man? You can't cook, man.
Well, I'm fortunate, bro. That's why you get married. My wife can cook. My wife
Okay,
can cook.
okay.
So um, we usually I do it like that. But sometimes I keep it light. Grab me a yogurt. Give me a little yogurt. Give me some fruit. Call it a
Uh-huh.
day.
Okay, okay. And then you said as far as like the off season, that's what you do. You disconnect, you get a retreat in, you take care of the physical things you need to take care of. And what about during the season? You know what I mean? Because it's a lot of pressure, especially being in New England. You know, I mean, it's a lot of pressure to win. It's a competition every day, man. I have never been on a team outside of New England that does like tackling drills, like where we like go to the ground. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, this is like new. So how do you deal with the pressure during the season, mentally, physically, and spiritually?
Um, I think just building a routine. I think that's the biggest thing of like we talked about. Like Monday is the day after the game. Is
Mm-hmm.
lift. Is working out, and then Mondays is my date night. So
Mm.
whether we're going to a teammates event or something they're having, or we're just going to a restaurant to kind of relax, And then Tuesday being an off day, I wake up with the kids in the morning, uh, do what they need to do for school, do the drop off at school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's when we have our weekly podcast with me and my brother.
Right.
So like it's always doing something else too. Like if I'm going to the community or doing something, I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing that Tuesday. And then like Tuesday evening, or in between different things and my massage and stuff is when I get ahead on my film, breaking down, teams and getting prepared that way.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's kind of Wednesday on, it's like all football. Then
Right.
Thursday
Right.
night we do our couples Bible study
Mm-hmm.
at Matthew Slater's house. So that's another time where it's like, all right, this is in the schedule where I'm devoting, 2 hours to just being with other guys on the team, their
Mm-hmm.
wives, of us just fellowshipping and getting to know God, getting to just hang out,
Right. Right.
Um, and I think from there, I'm so stuck in my routine and my days are all
Mm-hmm.
like this, the outside pressure, the noise, and like I don't hear it because I'm just zeroed in
Right. Right.
on what I'm doing and like trying to make sure I keep my routine and I stay focused on that. I think allows me to, better push out all the negativity or the different things that come in and out. And that's what I try to tell guys, from a leadership standpoint. That's how you have to be. Like the
Mm-hmm.
pressure's not going to go anywhere. The stress isn't going to go anywhere. Like that's
Right.
always going to be there. But you can prepare yourself to make sure you're battle tested and
Mm.
that you're focusing on what you deem important.
Right, right, right. So prioritizing, get a routine and then prioritizing the things that you deem as important.
Exactly.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And what I love about, I remember the second time I came back to New England, um, I felt like I got better. My middle of the field skills were a lot better than my rookie year. They were trash. But what I loved about New England, man, was the culture, not just with the coaches, but the culture within the players. It didn't matter if you were the star player. It didn't matter if you were the bottom player. Everyone treated each other, like equals. And so after a game, you I forgot who we played, but after the game, I was at home because I was on practice squad, and then you hit me up. You was like, "Hey, you want to go out to eat with all of us?" When I went to go eat, man, I was like, "Man, shoot, everyone's here." Like Martellus, Gronk, you know what I mean? I was like, "Dang, this is crazy," because the other teams I've been on, it's not like that. It's the you may have like this group over here, this group over here, this group
Hmm.
over here. So how do you build that type of camaraderie with the team?
I think just time. Matt Slater always, I've learned that from him. Like he always is talking about relationships. He's always talking about that, because I think people always focus on like, how good is this guy? Like, do they have a returning starter? Is this guy?
Mm-hmm.
He was like, to be a good team, he was like, relationships have to be strong. Like
Mm-hmm.
bonds have to be built. You have to know, like, I'm playing for this guy next to me and he's playing for me. So
Mm-hmm.
that way we just go out there and we don't want to let each other down. And I
Right.
think that comes from spending time with each other, like whether it's going out to eat, whether it's spending extra time in the facility, like when you're in the hot tubs and you walk in there and you see guys just all hanging out in there where they could easily be at home after the day, but they're in there
Right.
rehabbing or getting some treatment and stuff. And a lot of times, for me, especially now, it's I'm getting treatment, but I'm hanging with the guys,
Right.
and
Right.
I
Yeah.
think when you're outside the building and you do those things, it just makes everything stronger. Like even I
Right.
said, like being in the couple study, like you get to know guys personally. Like you're not
Mm-hmm.
just playing, because you wear the same jersey as me, but
Right.
nah, like I know you, I know your family, I know like what you've been through, I know like how important this is to you. You know the same thing about me,
Right.
and I think that pushes you forward. Me and Trent Brown was talking about that. He plays in Vegas right now for the Raiders, and we were just talking about like the brotherhood in New England. Like everyone on the outside talks about it's tough, it's militant, and I'm like,
Right.
people don't
Right.
understand till you get on this team. That one of the biggest things to me that is so great about New England is like we try to grow as men
Mm-hmm.
more than anything. Like
Right.
whether that's our Bible studies, our chapels, or just really just hanging in the locker room.
Right.
Like we don't have a game room, we don't have it. So like the
Yeah. No.
locker
Right.
room is where you know what I mean. The locker room is where guys hang. We
Yeah.
talk. We talk about being fathers, being husbands. Like we get on younger guys about being in the streets.
Right.
How to
Right.
spend your money. Like
Yeah.
everything. And I think a lot of NFL lockers are like that, but I think in our locker room, everybody's very open,
Right.
and that allows us to have real relationships that I value, and I think it's been like that. Like when guys come and go, we still have bonds, we still talk,
Mm-hmm.
and guys miss it because I think inside that building, like as teammates, guys truly care for each other.
Right, right. No, I would agree with that, man. Because when I came back, it was like I never left. Everybody's
Hmm.
hitting me up, talking to me. And sometimes you get a little skeptical or a little nervous about walking into a new locker room because you don't know how you will be received. And when I came back, it was like with open arms. Even Bill came up to me.
Hmm.
It was like he said, "You were gone but not forgotten." I was like, "Oh man, you touched my heart." You didn't have to cut. What I mean, but it's all good.
And I didn't have to be gone.
I know, right? So, you're more than a football player. You know what I mean? So, what's your mission outside the game, man? What do you want? What do you want to accomplish outside the game?
To make a difference, I think this past off season we kind of just sat down and we wanted to, like you just said, like a direct mission. And I think one of the biggest things I would say is the well-being of youth,
Mm,
whether that falls into um, health, where we do our sickle cell,
mm,
of raising awareness for that, and sickle cell majority affects the minority communities, black and brown people, and it's in my family. My aunt passed away from it 2 years ago. My uncle has a disease. My grandparents had the disease. So like that is something that's near and dear to my heart. So, and then you talk about education, you talk about economic advancement. Um, we've gotten to testify at the state house and speak on the behalf of kids and their education, of the gap in Massachusetts
oh wow.
with poor, low-income housing areas and where they go to school compared to
Hmm.
some of the best schools in the country are
Right.
right in Massachusetts. So doing that, fighting to raise the age limit for juvenile justice, we've done that. So when I kind of look at it from a holistic standpoint, it's usually involving youth, which I feel is the future of how you improve
Right.
whatever things you don't like. It's getting to the youth, and I just want to give them an opportunity. So trying to create positive and good opportunities for youth, whether that's, like I said, healthcare,
Hmm.
whether that's education, economic advancement, staying out of trouble, creating new avenues and
Hmm.
paths for them. It's been, for me, it's been awesome. Like the
Right.
people I've
Right.
gotten to work with, from you know grassroots organizations, advocates,
Hmm.
officers, just so many different people,
Right.
lawyers, like doctors,
Right.
so many different people wanting to do positive things in the community. The NFL and football has given me that platform to elevate their voices.
Right.
And that's something I want to keep doing, for as
Hmm.
long as I live.
Right, right. No, that's really dope because, and the funny thing about this, you hear athletes, man, "Oh, I don't have time. I don't have time. I don't have time." I'm like, you do have time because you make time to play, 2K all night, or you make time
Mm-hmm.
to, make videos or go out. So whatever you want, whatever's important to you, you will make time for. And
Yep.
so, how did you go about, because you're doing a lot of things. So how did you go about like making time for those things? Do you have a team around you, like all that right there?
Yeah, so early in my career, I was young. I didn't,
Mhm.
no kids,
Right.
no wife. So I felt like you have time. Like
Mhm.
if they're doing something, go do it. If
Right.
somebody have something, go. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
as I've gotten older, that's changed a little bit
Right.
because,
Right.
like I said, even in the Bible, like I can't go in the community and do all these great things if my household's a mess. Like that's
Right.
the
Right.
first thing you gotta be able to be a leader in your house. So I think because of that, like you just said, is just having a team of people. Like my
Mhm.
marketing team helps out a lot. The Patriots organization of understanding like things that I can do, things that I can't do.
Mhm.
And then one of the biggest things I think is just having a plan of what you want to do and
Mhm.
figuring that out. Um, we started with my wife. We got our calendar right in our phones. It's linked.
Mhm.
Um, when she puts doctor's appointments for the kids in there,
Mhm.
I put like different appearances. We just put everything in there
Mhm.
to make life a lot easier, and so we can follow and know. Um, so we don't forget to say something, or you know what I mean, tell each
Right.
other
Right.
this or that. We try to put everything in the calendar, and trust me, I've heard it before. Like if I tell her something, but I don't put it in the calendar and she
Mhm.
forget, is my fault. She on my head about it.
Yeah.
So that's been something that I've had to figure out over the last couple of years because being a guy who's been, I've done a lot of things and I've always wanted to be active,
Mhm.
of figuring out how to still be active, but also making sure that I am in the house to be a husband and a father and
Right.
I'm
Right.
present. I try to make sure I prioritize that and make sure that stays top of my list.
Right, right. And to add on to that, which is a cool thing to think about it. Not only do you need to like lead your family, but if you don't have the ability to lead yourself, how do you expect to lead others? You know, and
That's very true.
yeah, and so I know you right now. Deb put me on a time restriction. I would like to go for about 3 hours, but Deb has a family and kids, so I'm gonna wrap it up here in a little bit. Um, you know, I never played with my brothers in high school. I would love to play with my brothers in high school. So how is that feeling? Being able to play with your brother in New England.
Oh, it's awesome, man. I talked about that. I did a Players Tribune article, and it was like why, like the legacy of being in New England. And I was like, if I'm keeping it real with you, I was like, all of that is cool and all, but I said honestly, I thought I would leave because I was like, I don't really care about any of that.
Hmm.
Whether it's 10 years in one place and you stay here or you go, but like when they picked up my brother's option for me, that was like, all
Yeah.
right, let's see how we can make this work because
Right.
I just had so much fun the last 2 years of doing that,
Mm.
um, going to games, driving together. The day after games, we go get breakfast together, talk about the game, breaks.
Right. Right.
Like this is what we did as kids, like
Yeah.
popcorn the games,
Yeah.
waking up together, going over our plays, preparing. Like that's what we did when we were freaking 10, 11, 12. And like
Hmm.
now, at 32, 33, like to be doing that
Hmm.
together, like you can't describe it because I think, like you just said, if you've never done that, you don't know how special it is, and
Right.
to be able to try to finish our careers doing it that way, it's just awesome. Like our wives get along great. The kids love that we live across the street
Hmm.
from each other. My mom comes up, she visits both of us a lot more now
Right.
because during the season it's just one drive and she's there. So
Hmm.
that's something I want to keep, and it's been great, but now it's made me be like, dang man, we could have done this from the beginning,
Right.
like been
Right.
on the same team, how
Yeah.
awesome it would have been.
Yeah.
So we just want to keep it going, man. It's a lot of fun, and I truly feel like it's a blessing.
Yeah. And everyone, he's a twin. So who was born first?
I was 27 minutes.
Okay. And so he went to the NFL before you did, correct?
Yeah, yeah. I
Um.
redshirted, so he came out in 2009, six
Right.
round draft pick.
Okay, so is there any level of like, okay, you won Super Bowls. Now he has a Super Bowl under his belt. But before that, you being a first round draft pick or all that, like who ran the faster 40?
He did, but he didn't go to the combine, so I don't count it.
See, okay, so where's the competition? Like, when does the competition stop? Or is it like always like is it
it's
ever going to
it's
end?
always a fun competition.
Okay,
For both of us, like no one roots harder for one another than us two.
right,
But when we get together, it's always gonna be competitive. We always
right,
gonna go at it. But it's all for fun. Like
right.
we used to play basketball 1-on-1 for like 3 hours, not even
Yeah,
keep score, just
right,
keep going at each
right,
other. And I think that's how it is now. Like
right,
he was always so happy for me when we
mm,
won Super Bowls, but then he'd be like, dang, but I kind of, I want that. I want to feel
right,
that.
right.
And that's why in 2018, like that, like when we won the Super Bowl, like to
Yeah,
me, like being on the field and looking at him and to know like the first one I ever won,
mm-hmm,
as much as he probably hated being there and have to, like he was the first person I saw on the field
right,
after we won the game, and
yeah,
he's like smiling ear to ear.
right,
And he
right,
said it to me. He was like, "Bro, I thought like it would be a weird feeling of like being down here." And
mm-hmm,
he's, I had all these thoughts in my head, and he was like, "Bro, when I got down here, he was like, all I could think about was like how happy I was
right,
for
right,
you to win the Super Bowl."
right, right.
Even though we're competitive, like we just love seeing the other one succeed. Like I was happier when we won the Super Bowl together. I was happier for him than
Mm-hmm.
me. Like
Right, right,
a couple times I just caught myself just watching him, like just
right, right,
seeing
right.
him,
Yeah,
just have so much fun with it.
no, that's really cool, man. So, to wrap it up a little bit, man, is what is three tangible like action items you can give to an athlete and like a business leader who's looking to get the edge and build their team? What's three action items you got for me?
I think you said it before. I think to lead others, you got to know how to lead yourself. So, just taking some time, I think each day, preferably in the morning, to just, I saw your YouTube video. You talked about that of just taking time, whether it's you start off and it's just 5 minutes and then you build it to 10,
Hmm.
15, 20. but just starting your day with whatever it is that relaxes you and gets you in a mental space of like, all right, this is my day. This is what I'm gonna do. This is gonna make me better. Like for me, I wake up in the morning and I try to wake up a little bit before the kids wake up, and I
Mm-hmm.
just get in my word, read my word, and
Right.
pray for the day. And I know that that starts me off right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would say the second thing is um, having a plan. You know,
Mm.
whatever that is, whether in business, whether you're in sports, and it's knowing your position or getting better at your craft or
Mm-hmm.
getting better conditioning or
Mm-hmm.
it's you want to hit these numbers as a business. I think it's important to have that plan, but I think it's also important to have the plan of what and where you want to be as a person,
Mm.
not just like number goals or like I want to be a starter, I want this award or achievement,
Mm-hmm.
but to know like where do you want to grow as a person and
Mm.
to kind of know that and never let that go.
Right.
So no matter the ups and downs, you never change who you are at the core.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is very important. And then lastly, I would just say to believe in yourself.
Mm.
Me and my brother, we gave the commencement speech at Rutgers this past year. And
Together.
yeah,
Oh,
it
okay.
was fun. It was nerve wracking, but it
Yeah.
ended up doing really well.
Yeah.
We talked about redefining success. Of success is always going to change. You reach one goal, it's going to be something else to do. You do something, you don't do it well, you fail. All right, you got to do something else. Like you're always going to be going after something.
Mm-hmm.
And within that, we talked about two things that I thought was really important. Believe in yourself. Don't let anyone ever steal your dreams. Like
Mm-hmm.
parents, loved ones.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they cast fears on you that they have, and they don't
Right.
want to do it. They don't mean to do it. But you're a young kid, and you say, I want to be the president. That's a big task. A parent
Right.
might, they fear that. They might tell
Mm-hmm.
you, maybe choose something else.
Right.
And then the second thing within the redefining, success is run your own race.
Mm.
We talking about me and my brother's relationship. He said that's something he had to learn in life because we're twins. People always like, man, your brother has Super Bowls, you don't. Oh man, your
Right.
brother
Right.
did this, you don't. He said he had to learn. He would never be happy. He would never have joy if he always had compared himself to me or he always compared himself to something else.
Right.
So he learned. He said it. You jealousy, comparison will steal your joy. It's a thief
Right.
of joy.
Right.
So just being able to run your own race and enjoy your own successes,
Mm-hmm.
um, get over and overstep your obstacles, your own obstacles, not
Mm-hmm.
other people's things you go through. That's your path, your
Mm-hmm.
story, your testimony. So embrace that and make sure that you do well in just that and just your path. So
Right.
that's what I will leave people with. Know
No.
yourself, know yourself,
Mm-hmm.
get better each day, have a
Mm-hmm.
plan, and then don't let anyone take your dreams and run your own race.
Right, right. No, that's big too. It doesn't matter how old you are too, because if you allow people to steal your dreams, steal like what you truly believe in, man, it'll kill everything. And then you'll be like 80
And
years
it'll
old.
last forever. Yep.
Yeah, man. Have all these regrets,
Hmm.
and life is too short to have regrets, man. I talk about time all the time, man. Time is you can't buy it, you can't
Hmm.
pray for it, you can't wish for it, man. Time is once it's done, it's done. So,
Yep.
do you visualize any? Uh,
Not, I think I do it naturally, but I don't like take time each day to do that. But
mhm.
like I know in football I do that all the time. Like we put in a defense, like I'm envisioning like, how I think this play gonna go while we
Right,
put
right.
it. So like I do that.
Okay, okay. Now that's my quick question. So,
Yeah.
how do you want to be remembered? And then after that, can you let people know, where they can find you? And if somebody wants to, bring you in for something, how can they get that done too as well?
Yeah, I'll say how I want to be remembered is um, just as a person. I
Mm-hmm.
want people to, when they speak about me, they talk about the impact that I had on them, or just strictly on how I made them feel.
Mm,
I think that is one of the biggest things to take away in our, like you said, our short time here on Earth, is how we can make others feel around us.
mm-hmm.
You can achieve great things. All of that is amazing.
Right.
But when you have the ability to make other people feel good, to make them, to instill confidence in them, any of these great things, I think when you just have different fruits that come from you that are all positive fruits,
Mm-hmm.
um, I think that is just incredible. So I hope people talk about me and they just talk about the way I made them feel, either directly or them seeing something I did and
Mm-hmm.
inspired them, just something to that nature. And, anybody, McCourty Twins, Twitter, Facebook,
Right.
Instagram, all of that. We work with a company called Malka Sports. That's Malka. It's all on our social media. And then tacklesicklecell.org is really what we're in for sickle cell and everything like that. If you want to get involved in that, is there. And then the Players Coalition is something that we're involved in, where we do a lot of advocacy work. So that's another place to find different things that we do. But if you just go to our social media accounts, McCourty Twins, at McCourty Twins, you'll get all that information.
Okay. McCourty Twins. I'll put it somewhere over here.
Yeah,
And
you the IT, you the smart guy.
that's all you. So no, man, Dev, I really appreciate you taking some time, man. I know you got family. I know you got, just things you want to do. So I appreciate the time to speak with me. And, the questions never stop, ladies and gentlemen, because guess what? After we hang up right here, I'm going to ask them and off air, ask them, how I did. So
Yeah.
I'm always asking questions. So Dev, I really appreciate you.
No problem, man. Appreciate you having me on, and good luck with everything. I love what you're doing. You've always been a positive person trying to create a change and have an impact. So never change and keep doing that, bro.
I appreciate it.
Dear sister.
I said, thank you, Jesus, for your glory and your grace.
Amen.
Goodness. You're so worthy.
Yeah, that's right.
We out taking chances. And you told me you was going to give me a chance.
That's all right, girl.
Ground beef, and then after it's done, but I season my ground beef because I usually rinse it to try to get some of that excess grease off of it. So I still season it before I rinse it off, so to try to have some seasoning in it. So I season it, then I rinse my meat off after it's done, and I put it back in there, and I put some more seasoning on it since I rinsed it off. Then once